r/AskReddit. What's something you've gotten away with as a kid because they're young and don't know what they're doing? When really you knew exactly what you were doing. The first 2 years of elementary school I had to take the public bus 2 times a week to get to my school. So my mum gave me money for the ticket each morning I needed it. What she didn't know, I never once bought a ticket and kept all the money. 2 times I got caught, but pretended I didn't even know how to buy one, and they let me go because I was so young. A young entrepreneur with an illegal money making scheme. Nice. How did you get to school then? With the bus. Back then you could get in with no ticket, but had to buy it inside at a machine. My parents had weird schedules, so for school, my mum usually packed my lunch in the evening and my dad would give me lunch money in the morning, not knowing that I already had lunch packed. I continued that scam for a couple of months until I had enough money to buy a Wii, which is when my parents noticed that they've been tricked by a 7-year-old, but of course they didn't think I did it on purpose. The funniest part of this is the thought of a 7-year-old bringing home a brand new Wii and the parents just going, huh. That's where my plan was destroyed. My dad drove me to an electronics and the checkout person thought something was off about a kid running around with so much cash. He asked my dad if it's okay that he's selling it to me, and my dad was really confused. Hi, I'd like to pay for this game system in all ones and quarters please. I don't know if this fits because I don't remember it at all, but when I was around 3 or so, my sister, 10 years older, kept getting blamed for eating all the ice cream and would deny it, which made my mom mad. Then one day, my mom rounds the corner into the kitchen, then quickly pulls back to watch little old me drag a chair from the table over to the freezer, grab a spoon from the drawer, open said freezer and dive into the ice cream, finish and put the ice cream back, close the freezer, lick the spoon, and put it back into the drawer, and pull the chair back over to the table. It was almost the perfect crime. Oh, I definitely recognize this, except me and my brother were both in on it. We would lift one another up onto the kitchen counter so we could reach the upper cabinet, then shovel handfuls of candy in our pockets. Yum. I threw a water balloon during a birthday party at my friend's dad that I didn't like. Made him spill his drink. I was like 5 or 6. Oopsie. Then high-five the others. Do you remember why you didn't like him? He was my t-ball coach and he made me play first, but I couldn't catch. I was on a trampoline and my older brother kept pushing me whenever I tried to stand up. He repeatedly did this about 7 times. He pushed me all the way to the springs. I tried to stand up again and he pushed me off the trampoline. Because of the way he pushed me, I was falling head first, so I reached above my head to protect my head from the impact. I broke my fall with my arm, and I broke my arm with my fall. Compound fracture, bone pierced the skin. It popped back in immediately after stabbing my skin, so I never got to see the bone. He told our parents that I was about to fall off the trampoline, and he tried to catch me, but he accidentally pushed me. And my parents thought he tried his best, but he's just a kid, so at least he tried to catch him. Do you still hold a grudge? A little bit, but it doesn't affect how I act towards him now. I'm now moved out and in college. That brother has been moved out for a long time now. But when I was younger, that incident is what kept my parents from letting me get a trampoline for so long. I literally begged 4 years to get a trampoline, but because of his excuse, they thought I was actually going to fall off of it, so they thought it was too dangerous for me. So the grudge that remains is the fact that a lot of potential childhood fun was taken because of his lie. I stole a ball from a thrift store. I said I thought it was just someone's lost ball, since it was obviously not a brand new item in a store. However, I fully understood the concept of a thrift store. One time I found an open package of marbles that was half empty in Walmart when I was a kid. On the way home my mom looked back at me playing with them and was like, "Where did you get those?" I remember looking around and thinking what a silly question that was. In my sassiest 5-year-old voice I said, the store. And I got a big loud lecture about stealing. I still kinda think it wasn't that bad, since it would have been discarded anyway. I once found a small packet of thread in the wrong aisle in a store. I picked it up and put it in my pocket and took it with me. For some reason it didn't occur to me that it was stealing, because it wasn't where it belonged. I also got lectured by my mom. I was the victim of this. We were both kids, but I was the older one. I had my head out of the window and my cousin rolled it up choking me till I was teary. I was livid, but her mom didn't punish or discipline her because she's just a kid. The time my sister smiled at me before running to mom crying. Truth is I slapped her hard in front of mom after that and said something like, if I'm getting grounded I'm at least actually hitting you first. We were like 6 or 7, lol. I was one of those kids who was smart, but had very little common sense, so doing these types of things was not unusual for me. I was in Pop Warner, think kids from 10 to 13, football, and I absolutely hated our assistant coach. He was the quarterback's dad and a complete asshole to me, was the center, that is. The lineman who hikes the ball to the quarterback. Every time something went wrong it was my fault, always making me run laps. Picking on me for having a squeaky voice and being overweight. With the benefit of hindsight, I have no idea what was wrong with this guy to be so shitty to a kid. Anyway, we went to the playoffs, but lost our last game to a much better team. I had seen people dump Gatorade onto the coach on TV and thought, duck it. Now is my chance. He was wearing a white polo with khakis and I dumped a whole jug of red Kool-Aid on him. He was pissed, but completely shocked too. My dad ran up quietly but sternly asking, "What are you doing?" And I just said that I saw people do it on TV. The coach laughed and shook his head. He patted me on the shoulder and said, "People really only do that when you win, but I understand how you got confused." The whole team went to dinner after that. Dude had to spend the rest of his evening in sticky pink clothes. It was the first time I ever felt like I got away with anything. He reacted better than expected if he was an asshole. Probably because the parents were there / he was being watched. This reminds me of something I actually went through. There was a 6-year-old who used to step on me and my sister's feet. We normally didn't have socks on, twist so that it hurt more. Then when we got mad at him he would say, "Im little," with a smile. I used to wait until my mom showed up at the babysitter's to pick us up to ask for snacks. She would never give them to me throughout the day, but she wouldn't say no when my mom was standing there. Oh, I definitely think they realized what you were doing. But you got away with it anyway, because you were a tiny manipulative genius. Zipped my sister in a suitcase and sent her down the stairs. Nothing happened and she was a bit traumatized, but no physical injury on my part. Hers too, I guess. Man, that childhood event must have left her with a lot of emotional baggage. I used a lot of things in the pantry to make a cake. I had no idea what I was doing, and I knew very well that it wasn't going to turn out any good. I made a mess with flour and sugar and chocolate and everything I could find that sounded cakey. My cake was a disgusting blob with sprinkles and jam on top. I was kind of proud, but I knew I had messed up. I even ate some of it. They made me clean, but I was making it worse, so I got help. When I was little I thought I wanted to become a famous cook, and I thought I was so amazing at putting foods together. One day, I made my parents a grape sandwich. Consisting of smooshed grapes, a bucket load of butter on 2 slices of bread, and chocolate sauce. When I presented this creation to my dad he said, "I will only eat it if you finish it for me, just to let me know it tastes good." At that point in time, I was young and didn't understand that he meant for me to eat this whole grape sandwich and then let him eat it too. I ended up walking to the backyard and spitting my wonderful concoction onto the grass. My girlfriend works in a kindergarten. The boys are in love with her, so first they started asking things like, do you wanna go out, and do you wanna be my girlfriend and such. Then it evolved to them slapping her in the but every time they went past her. They are 6-year-olds. But does she let them get away with it? No. But everyone else just say to her it is a game, and they don't know what they are doing. I cut the tip of my finger with those small grooming scissors cause I wanted to see if it would hurt. It didn't. I just freaked out at the amount of blood coming out to my finger. Scared the hell out of my teenage brother at the time. I bet he was scared. I once saw a kid in my toddler class cut his upper lip in half with scissors. I still remember how that looked to this day. Haha, scared the shit out of me. Eating the giant chocolate egg my brother got from school the second he went to get my mom to show it. When I was 2 I ate my Easter chocolate bunny and the foil still on it. That's where all the protein is. When I was really little, a year or so into using the bathroom mostly on my own, I decided I wanted to use a potty again this time. But only the top part was there. Just the seat, no bowl to be found. Now I don't recall exactly what my motivation was, but I definitely remember I knew exactly what was going to happen as I decided the lack of bowl wouldn't be stopping this train, and how hard it was to not to laugh and keep acting confused as my mom was patiently explaining how it worked, and did I forget how to use the toilet while there was a puddle on the floor, like I had made some honest mistake. Always interesting what motivates kids to do things like this. Let's duck around and see what happens. Pretty much anything, as long as the house did not burn down. I'm the youngest of 9 kids, and by the time my parents got to me, they were just too damn tired. So, the one time the house did burn down. Who said it was one time? One time, I became a black market candy shop owner at school. Of course my parents thought I didn't know better, but I had a whole business plan. Eventually I made $400 and my parents realized that I was becoming some sort of weird hustler that knew too much financially. I lost the touch as I got older though. I think at the time you had a finer knowledge than the kids, which is why it was easier then. When I was maybe like 3 to 4 years old, I remember going to the fridge for a snack at maybe 3 in the morning. I accidentally knocked a whole carton of eggs onto the floor. I think I kind of just pushed the broken eggs and stuff under the fridge with paper towel. All of it. It was hidden pretty well, if I remember correctly. I don't remember any aftermath from the incident. Weird. Let me just check under the fridge. Yay. Never mind, don't look under the fridge. When my older brother and I were young teens, he kept getting yelled at for watching adult stuff on the family PC. Our Catholic mom would check the browser history, find it, and yell at him and ground him. He insisted it wasn't him. He would then get punished for lying because it wasn't mom or dad, and it couldn't be the young innocent straight A Catholic high school attending sister. A few years ago I fessed up that I, at the time the 14-year-old Catholic schoolgirl, would Google it and click links to fill up the browser history and then go on my merry way every time my brother pissed me off. Didn't even watch it. Just googled some boobs and then moved on because I knew she checked our browser history every night because that's just what she did. We did not get along as teens. He pissed me off a lot, so he got yelled at by our mom. When I was 10 years old, my parents pulled me aside one day and decided to break the news to me that Santa wasn't real, and they were the ones that bought me the presents under the tree each Christmas. They held off as long as they could to tell me and thought that I was old enough to know the truth. I could tell it was so hard for them because they thought they were breaking a kid's heart. The thing is that I knew that for a couple of years already. I just kept pretending because I liked getting presents. We accidentally told my sister when she was 11, and she cried. Our twin sisters who were a year younger, got mad at us because they knew, since they were 5, but were putting up a good show for her, so she wouldn't get heartbroken. We all felt kind of bad, but like, she was 11, and we thought she already knew, and was putting on a show for the baby and the family. I used to sell weed for a local distributor when I was 10. The money was good, and I managed to make a girlfriend using that money, buying her candies and stuff. But my uncle caught me red-handed, and I said I was selling coriander leaves. Both my dad and uncle thought local boys didn't tell me it was drug, and I was too young to understand it wasn't. Haha, wow, I couldn't imagine buying weed from a 10-year-old. Very dangerous too, because you would be super easy to rob by someone with ill intentions. I guess stealing money from my dad so I can buy Happy Meals and get the toys in them. Poor dad barely even had money back then to support us, kinda feel like shit now. Buy him a Happy Meal now,